guys, if you're a Potterhead, you definitely are in the right place. In today's video, we will explain the life of the famous Death Eater with pure blood beliefs, Lucius Malfoy. Maybe you didn't know his full story, so here's a chance to learn about it, why he became Death Eater, why he has his beliefs, and much more. So enough with the intro, shall we begin? Early life. Lucius Malfoy was born in 1954 in Great Britain to Abraxas Malfoy and a mother which we don't know the identity of. Born and raised in wealth and luxury as his ancestors before him, Lucius was taught by his family that Muggles are inferior to his kind, a pure-blood wizard. He spent his early years of his life in his family's magnificent mansion in the country of Wiltshire. That mansion had been in his family's possession maybe for 1,000 years. We don't know his relationship with his parents as a child, but we think that his father had most influence on him. His father was a demanding parent with high expectations and a lot of influence at the Ministry of Magic in London. All of this would eventually become the life of Lucius later on. Hogwarts years. Lucius started his education at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry in 1965 and ended in 1972. As the Malfoy family's tradition, he was sorted out into a Slytherin house, a place where many other like-minded young idealists were often found. During his school years, he met his future wife, a proud member of the noble and most ancient House of Black. House of Black is one of the most prominent, pure-blooded wizarding families in Great Britain, and like the Malfoys, one of the sacred 28. In his third year at Hogwarts, Lucius witnessed the premature retirement of Nobby Leach, the first Muggle-born Minister for Magic. After some time, rumors began circulating regarding what actually happened to him, and for a time, Lucius' own father fell under suspicion of having had a hand in the shady plot that led to Leach to resign. Later on, Lucius was ultimately a model student that led by example and became a voice of authority among his peers. He was named a prefect in his 5th year, and by being a prefect, he was invited to join the out-of-hours dining and social club hosted by their always talent scouting potions master, Horace Slughorn, known as the Slug Club. In 1971, Lucius became the first person apart from Lily Evans to ever extend Severus Snape a hand of friendship. He warmly welcomed Severus after he got sorted into a Slytherin house. After some time, there was a recent increase in dark magical activity throughout Great Britain, started by Lord Voldemort and his Death Eaters. It was the beginning of the terror that would put a fear in the wizarding world. However, Lucius didn't feel afraid. He found himself agreeing with the views of the Dark Lord regarding the treatment that the non-magical community deserved. He didn't like Dumbledore much, who became a vocal pro-Muggle activist, and also succeeded Armando Dippet as headmaster of Hogwarts. First Wizarding War, 1972-1981. After graduating from Hogwarts around the year of 1972, he was free at last to enjoy full-time because, as you know, he was pretty wealthy and with no need to work. Later on, he became romantically involved with Narcissa Black, his fellow Slytherin pure-blooded student. He had a lot in common, and after some time, they married. The couple was seen as a very respectable, pure-blood couple and took up residence at Malfoy Manor. In doing so, Lucius also officially assumed both the patriarchy of the Malfoy family, ownership of their house elf Dobby, and gained the possession of a prized family heirloom that had been passed down for many generations. As the Dark Lord's campaign of violence had just grown fiercer, they finally made an ongoing conflict culminated in the First Wizarding War. And as you know, Lucius most certainly fell into the category of the ambitious seeking some shared glory. Then rumors began spreading that in fact, Lord Voldemort had made himself immortal, thus cementing the idea that he was unstoppable. Lucius eventually swore his eternal allegiance to the Dark Lord and officially joined the ranks of the Death Eaters. Lucius often supplied his brothers in arms with important information directly from the ministry itself, and was not shy either to use his talents of coercion, torture, and murder. So he quickly proved himself a most valuable servant to the Dark Lord. As the war progressed, Lucius had risen ambitiously through the ranks of the Dark Lord's followers, becoming second in command to the army of Lord Voldemort. By the time of his son's birth, Draco, in 1980, Lucius received an old-school diary from Voldemort. The diary was bewitched, and he told Lucius that if the diary gets smuggled into Hogwarts Castle, it would reopen the legendary Chamber of Secrets and send the monster living inside to finish Salazar Slytherin's noble work. When Lord Voldemort went to kill the only threat he had, Harry Potter, he would fail, obliterating his body. And following the incident, the Order of the Phoenix and the Ministry of Magic were able to call up many of his followers, including Lucius. However, Lucius told the Ministry of Magic that he was acting under the influence of Imperius Curse. Time between the wars, 1981 to 1995. After the disappearance of Lord Voldemort, Lucius had believed that he actually died on that night at Godric's Hollow. Lucius eventually went on to raise his son in an atmosphere of regret that the Dark Lord had not succeeded in taking command of the wizarding world. However, his loyalty was primarily towards the cause rather than to the man representing it, as shown by how he still associated with those of his former comrades who, like him, avoided Azkaban. Lucius took interest in potentially allying himself with the very person who had brought his master's downfall. As he despised Dumbledore, he didn't want his son to go to Hogwarts for his education, so he decided to join the Board of Governors in order to influence the undermining Dumbledore's authority. During the 1985-1986 school year, he visited Hogwarts for a surprise inspection, which he claimed was on instructions of the board, bringing Draco with him. During the visit of Hogwarts, Lucius' wand went missing, and he initially blamed the theft on their house elf Dobby. However, Draco had taken his father's wand to perform magic. Lucius had the biggest role in opening the Chambers of Secrets as he slips Tom Riddle's diary into Ginny Weasley's school books. As the attacks on Muggleborn started, Lucius immediately used the terror to discredit and vote to dismiss Albus Dumbledore as headmaster for his poor governance of the school. Second Wizarding War, 1995-1998. As Lord Voldemort came back again in the summer of 1995, Lucius was summoned by him. Lucius claimed that he had done everything he could to find Voldemort and help him rise again. Voldemort believed these words, however he mildly doubted his loyalty because Lucius had fled the Dark Mark at the 1994 Quidditch World Cup. Harry witnessed Malfoy's declaration of loyalty to Voldemort, but nobody believed him. As the time progressed, Lucius continued doing what he was doing. He eventually was doing shady dealings with Cornelius Fudge. The frequent meets with Fudge were excuses to place the Imperius Curse on ministry officials on Voldemort's order. After the failure of his previous attempts to obtain the prophecy, Voldemort lured Harry to the Hall of Prophecies, where he would meet Malfoy along with other Death Eaters, including Bellatrix Lestrange. Then a battle was started, which we know as the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. However, Harry and his friends managed to hold off the Death Eaters until several members of the Order of the Phoenix arrived. Lucius received a stunning spell, which knocked him out. After the incident, the evidence against Lucius was actually overwhelming that he was in fact a Death Eater. So he was sent to Azkaban prison, as was the rest of the squad, with the exception being Bellatrix Lestrange, who escaped with Voldemort. He was marked as prisoner 537 and was sentenced to life imprisonment in Azkaban. 1 year later, Voldemort helped him escape from Azkaban along with other incarcerated Death Eaters. Although Draco didn't kill Dumbledore himself, the Malfoys were no longer held in high regard by the Dark Lord and were often mocked and disgraced. In short, Lucius had become reduced to nothing more than a servant. In the final battle of Hogwarts, Lucius wasn't concerned much about his master's cause. Instead, he was begging Voldemort to let him find his son Draco. After the defeat of Voldemort, the Malfoys sat in the Great Hall during the celebrations, looking unsure that they belonged there. Later life, post-1998. The crimes of Lucius were forgiven due to last-minute switch of allegiance. He didn't serve time in Azkaban, nor any of his family members, due to the evidence he provided against fellow Death Eaters, and his help to ensure the capture of many of Voldemort's followers, who had fled into hiding. Later on, Lucius would eventually become a grandfather to Scorpius Malfoy, after his son Draco married Astoria Greengrass. He still enjoyed collecting dark artifacts, particularly ones that no one else had, such as a new time turner, a prototype machine that could allow you to travel through time. However, he never used it because he preferred a world without Voldemort. We end our video here, guys. If we missed some crucial facts about the life of Lucius Malfoy, tell us in the comments section below. If you want more content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button to get notifications as soon as our new video pops up. Thank you for watching.